So here is the story how I went viral with a video that 99% of the people who are watching don't really get what it's all about. And this video got millions of views on YouTube, it was crazy, and also on Instagram and on TikTok. And the problem is, usually I'm teaching pool players on my channel, but this video was a challenge and it got out of this bubble, and most people who are watching are not really into pool, which is totally fine. But the problem is, if you would know what you have to watch while watching that video, it would be like 10 times more interesting. So before we get into that, let's have a look at the intro from the viral video first. So I've been playing this drill for a couple of hours now. No, come on. Feels like I'm playing this one forever. Well, let's start with this one into the side pocket, followed by that one. It's so awkward, just a fraction shorter. Yeah. Disappointing, really disappointing. Believe it or not, this was a pressure shot. Got it. That's such a relief. No! Come on! It's so frustrating, it's so difficult. Alright guys, I'm out. I'm gonna go to bed now, or maybe give it another shot. I don't know yet. This right here is by far the most difficult thing I've ever tried to do on a pool table. I mean, just look at this. 49 balls on the table, I'm not allowed to run into any other ball, and most importantly, I'm not allowed to touch any rail with the cue ball, and this is insanely difficult, believe me. And I decided after 12 hours of endless pain, endless struggle and disappointments to finally share my very best attempt with you. Will it be all 49 balls? Well, it might be just 48 balls or even less. Let's find out right now. And here is already where things went wrong, because the problem is the people didn't hear that it's all about the cue ball, and instead of watching the cue ball, they're just watching me making the shots into the pocket. But the challenge is that the cue ball is not allowed to run into any other ball, and the cue ball is not allowed to touch a rail. And this is insanely difficult, believe me. The cue ball control has to be on point, because in pool, you're not just making the shots, you're trying to control the cue ball on every single shot. And with 49 balls on the table, you can imagine how little space you have to bring the cue ball to those positions, and how difficult it is that the cue ball doesn't touch a rail or runs into any other ball, because on every single shot your cue ball control just has to be on point. So already on the first shot, you can see where the cue ball has to travel. It goes exactly through that gap of threads, because you are not allowed to touch any other ball as well. Here, for example, you can see how close it was that the cue ball touched that stripe ball. And the difficult thing is, the cue ball, especially in the beginning, has to be on point, because there is always just like one shot you can make, and you always want to have the angle where the cue ball doesn't really move a lot, because if you're having an angle, the cue ball goes into the rail. Here once again, look how closely it is. I almost touched that blue ball again, and I still have to control the cue ball that I have a follow-up shot. And especially in the beginning, as I mentioned, it's super tricky, because you don't have a lot of space. All the balls, you can say, well, you have so many different balls to choose from, but the problem is all those balls are blocking each other, so you can always just get position on one ball. Just watch the cue ball here, what I'm doing. I'm drifting the cue ball just a bit over to have a shot on this black ball. Now, drawing the cue ball back, if this does stop a bit earlier, it's basically over. So I was trying to draw the cue ball back to have that one into the side pocket. Here once again, very important to control the cue ball. Just a bit of a drawback for the red. Now I can't just roll it in. Once again, the cue ball has to move a tiny bit back to have that red into the side pocket. So it's insanely difficult. So please, when you're watching this challenge, just focus on the cue ball. So here, it's getting really tricky, because you can see I just have 3 open balls. This is a really important shot. Look where the cue ball goes. If it stops behind that ball, it's over. Here, this is the most tricky part, and I failed like at least 20 times at that point, because now I have to go to the other side and just bring the cue ball in between those balls once again. Bit harder, I'm hitting the brown. This is perfect. I actually tried to get a position on the brown, and in the full video, if you haven't watched that yet, I'm also doing this whole thing with live commentary, so you hear how I'm talking about every single thing I'm doing at the table. And not only do I have to make the shots and control the cue ball, I also have to be mentally so strong, because I was doing this challenge for 12 hours with live commentary for a couple of days. So you can imagine how frustrating it is if you make one single mistake, if you're a bit careless, if you don't make the shot, if the cue ball runs into another ball, if you don't get position, if the cue ball touches a rail, then I have to start all over again. And especially in the beginning, I think at least 100 times I failed within the first 5 to 10 balls, because it's just so difficult in the beginning and at the end. So let's have a look. Here once again, it's tricky because I almost hit that 3 ball, did avoid it, and the less balls I'm getting, the easier it should get, because I have more space on the table. And this would be true if the cue ball was allowed to touch a rail, because now it's getting intense, because if I'm getting one bad position at one shot, it's basically over again. So you really need to plan ahead, you really need to study, you need to be mentally strong, you need to be focused, you need to make the right decisions, play the balls in the right order. This, for example, look at the red ball. I can't believe still how that went in. But so many people were commenting, well, it touched the rail, the challenge is over. But of course, you need to be able to cheat the pocket a bit. This is what we call it in pool. To use the full pocket in a pool, on a pool table, pockets are pretty big. This, by the way, was a really difficult one. So, and you do that in pool to change the path of the cue ball. You do that to manipulate the cue ball. So here, you can see I have one ball left at the top right. Now I try to find the right pattern, just drawing the cue ball back. When the cue ball comes back, when you're hitting low, this is called drawing the cue ball. So the blue passes. You can see the cue ball just moved a tiny bit forward to have that red into the side. Now I'm trying to stop the cue ball where it is. Here, once again, I'm just trying to stop the cue ball. And this shot that is coming up right now, because the only one is this, at the lower right. This was such a long shot, and it was such a pressure shot. So difficult. Played it almost perfectly. Now once again, see, I can't just stop the cue ball. The cue ball has to go just a tiny bit forward to have a straightened shot into the side pocket. So I'm playing that in. Cue ball is not ideal, because see, I have to play that super softly now, because otherwise the cue ball goes too far up table, and then it's basically over, because I can't make the shot without hitting a rail. And this is now the final ball. Come on, drop. Yes! You can't believe how happy I was to finally pull it off. So I hope you see this challenge with different eyes now, and you enjoyed this video as much as I did doing that challenge. Well, I didn't enjoy it all the time, but when I finally pulled it off, it was like the best feeling I ever had for a very long time on a pool table. And by the way, if you want to learn how to play pool, then subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys.